the dunk competition. Dunk competition, Mac Mcclung won. Congratulations. 2-week contract.
You didn't like it?
The dunk contest, it's just, it's stale. The dunk contest is stale.
Yeah. I get it's stale, but I was at a bar watching this, and then as soon as I looked over and I saw Mac McClung like start, I looked over and I forget who he was going up against in the finals.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, short white guy who's athletic, you're gonna lose this." Especially just the story, Mac McClung, the name, like he had all of the drama and intensity. I'm like, if you do a double pump 360 dunk, it's gonna look normal if you do it. If Mac McClung does it, it's gonna look like the greatest dunk people have ever seen. So it's kind of like being short is an advantage. So it's like if a
That's a
short
good
guy's
point.
going up against a 6'8" wing, it's like it's not even gonna be a competition. Like he's just gonna come in there and run the show. But overall, I thought it was a
Kind
good
of reminds me
story.
of Nate Robinson back in the day.
Yeah, it reminds me of Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, definitely a genuinely good player.
Yeah.
Not saying Mac McClung isn't, but you're still on a 2-week deal. And really, the drama around the dunk contest was there was a quote from Kevin Durant that resurfaced, and Kevin Durant's like, "Why do we have someone who's 2 weeks out of the D League? It's like, come on, we need to do better than this." And I feel like that is true, but I would rather have a guy who's hungry straight out of the D League than some star player with name recognition who doesn't even care and who's going to go
Mhm.
out there and kind of be nonchalant. So it's like I feel like the best dunk contests are always obviously Jordan's probably the greatest one of all time and Vince Carter, but
Yeah.
I feel like the best ones recently have been Blake Griffin. He's been able to make a name for himself, and then Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon.
That was great. That's the
Yeah.
last like great one, I would say.
Yeah, and I feel like it's good to give like smaller players a chance to make them a name for themselves and show how talented they really are.
Yeah, I mean, there's players that I think are like the dunk contest can kind of make them their own name. And I think
Right.
about like going as far back as even Sean Kemp. Like Sean Kemp is known for being a dunker. And Vince Carter, although Vince Carter was a magnificent player, Hall of Fame player, absolutely.
Played forever.
Yeah, did play forever. But he absolutely known for the double honey dip. Like he became an icon. He's probably the best dunker of all time, honestly. And then my problem, I do agree with Katie's comments. I do think that they need to have better players, but the problem is that nobody wants to do it. It's
Yeah.
not so much that they can. It's like you look around. It's like, is LeBron ever going to do a dunk test? No. It's been 20 years. He's never done one. That's not going to happen.
Is Katie, you gonna do one?
KD won't ever do one. It's like, and then you think about like the really great dunkers. It's like, I look back to Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin can't do it now. He's past his prime. And it's like, who would do it at this point? I mean, Zach LaVine could do it again, but like,
Does he want to? Not really.
I feel like after you've already won a dunk contest, it's like, what else? Once you've
Yeah.
won one, you've kind of proven yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like players are afraid of getting labeled as a dunker. It's kind of like if you come out with like if you're a rapper, you come out with a specific style of music, or if you're a rapper and you start on YouTube. It's like you're scared of being labeled a YouTube rapper when you come
Yep.
out. Like I'm sure Jack Harlow had some fear. Like he's been doing YouTube all of his life. It's like there's that scare. You could go mainstream and your career could take off, or people will be like, "Oh, isn't that YouTube rapper?" So then you have star players like, well, if I win a dunk contest, am I going to be looked at like a Blake Griffin where people are like, oh, you won the dunk contest, so then they think less of your skills. So it's like, is there a little bit of that going on?
I don't know if I mean, I think Blake Griffin was a good example for that because
He
I mean,
didn't have any other skills.
his place that I mean, he was a good rebounder, but like he was kind of like a close proximity kind of scorer, which ultimately wasn't very successful. He was kind of like he's best known for his dunking. I mean, that's his best skill.
Yeah, no, going back and playing like a older 2K, or 2K even has like the legendary teams you can play with now. And if you play with like the 2013 Clippers,
The Lob City
you're just
team.
like, oh, this team was horrible.
Yeah,
You're just like, you have DeAndre Jordan who can't do anything except for block and rebound and dunk. And then you have Blake Griffin who, can't do anything except for block, rebound, or dunk. So it's like being able to drive is impossible with that team, especially Chris Paul is small. That's a knock in 2K. And then
their only shooter was JJ Redick.
yeah, and Matt Barnes. And Matt
Yeah.
Barnes has a funky form. So it's like, how is this team even good? It's like, I get you playing the era of the NBA where it's like the Spurs, but Tim Duncan at least had a little bit of a jumper.
Yeah,
The Lakers had forwards who could shoot.
yeah.
And Kevin Garnett, really good jumper. Dirk. So it's
Yeah.
like, even Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, they could both shoot threes.
Yeah.
Not so much Zach Randolph, but like Marc Gasol was still a credible shooter. So it's
Good
like
stretch big.
yeah. So I feel like part of the dunk contest problem is star players don't care about it, and then players probably don't want to just be labeled a dunker.